Yu-Gi-Oh 101 card review. Here to review a card that was released in Crossover Souls February 14th and coming to the TCG May 15th. What we're looking at here is Performapal Hammer Mammoth, and it is a Earth Beast effect monster, level 6, attack 2600, defense 1800. Description: if you control two or more Performapal cards, you can normal summon this card without tributing. Cannot attack unless you control another Performapal card. When this card declares an attack, you can return all spell trap cards your opponent controls to the hand. So a very, very useful card, and I I think it's a good ace monster for the Performer Pals in making a Performer Pal only build. I think they're now structuring themselves into being their own build, their own deck, to where you don't necessarily have to use them as, you know, in a uh, pendulum build per se. You don't have to use them in that. You can make a build where it's like it's purely uh, uh, performer pal monsters, and you can have a successful build with that. With that being said, this is really good for knocking away your opponent's um, monsters, your opponent's back row. I mean, obviously, this is like a Galaxy Knight for disrespected archetype. This is like their Galaxy Knight in a sense that when you control um, other monsters in the archetype, you'll be able to normal summon it without tributing. And on top of that, when it attacks, when it declares an attack. Now, this is something technical that I gotta explain before I get into what this card can work good with. Um, Oftentimes, you get people who, for whatever reason, think that when an attack is declared in the game, that it goes, that is damage calculation. You got to understand that that's two different steps. When an attack is declared, that's before damage calculation, and if the attack successfully goes through, then that's right there is what damage calculation is. That's when your monster get destroyed, and that's when you add, or I mean, and that's when you uh calculate up the damage, and that's how much either you or your opponents uh lose in life points. And when that happens, when an attack just gets declared, that's when the effect triggers. So just to clear that up for you. Now, as far as what this will really go good with, I mean, two monsters that you can get on the field real easy in order to just normal summon this right off the bat. There's a couple cards that that can obviously search it out, such as you have cards like Single Purchase. You have cards like uh, uh, Performapal, uh, Pinch Helper. You have cards like that. There's Boxer if you care to use that in a Performer Pal build. There's a Front Observer that can search out Earth monsters. So you do have a lot of options, like a good handful, and it's a couple whose names I can't remember, but it's options to search it out. But I think this card works best if you're going to use anything to search it out. It would more likely be, um, I would say, Performer Pal Call. The only reason why I say that is because with Performer Pal Call, you can search out the Performer Pal monsters, um, you know, or like you'll be able to search out two Performer Pal monsters after you take direct damage. So of course, it's all based on their defense, based on what you'll be able to search out. Depending on how much damage you take, the combined defense of both of the Performer Pal monsters you search out have to be equal to or less than the damage that you took. So that'll be something. The reason why I say that is probably better. I only say that because maybe Pinch Helper, it special summons the monster from the hand, but it negates the effects, which is what you want from Performer Pal Hammer Mammoth. Single Purchase, it's another bad card because you got to discard your entire hand, and I don't think there's any anti-meta support like that that can really work well with the Performer Pals. At least to my knowledge, I don't know if anything got released recently, but to my knowledge, there isn't anything out there besides, uh, different dimension reincarnation, and just like the basic stuff, and I don't know. Like, of course, there's always, uh, pendulums, because they basically were made to assist the pendulum monsters or work with them, I should say. So this is a card that you want to search it out, but you have to be aware of the drawbacks and try to find a way to loophole around them. Um, there was another Performapal monster. Let me see if they have it in the um, archetype description names. I think it was Performapal. What was it? Whip Snake? No, not Trump Witch. Uh, Performapal. It was something. Um, it came out around. I believe it came out around the same time as Performapal. Yeah, here we go. Uh, Performapal Pendulum Wizard. That can also help you out with Performapal Mammoth, Hammer Mammoth. So those are some options there. But of course, you're gonna have to see what's out now to and you just use best judgment when it comes to this card. But there's options out there. So link to this card is going to be in the description. You guys can check it out, and I'll see you for the next card review. Peace.